So, you have been in the manifestation community for a while, and you have learned how staying in the feeling of wish fulfilled is the key to leveraging the law of assumption. But as you try to find a feeling, you just can't. If this is how you're feeling at this moment, in this episode, I'm going to share with you 3 techniques that will help you find the feeling and stay in it as long as you want, whenever you want. So, let's dive right into it. But before we could get on with the techniques, we need to understand the relationship between goals and feelings or emotions. Vadim Zealand, in his book Reality Transurfing, talks about how when we are looking to manifest something in the material, it's not the object that we're looking for, but it's the feeling behind it. And I think it makes perfect sense. Why would someone want to manifest $1 million? It's probably because it's gonna bring them a sense of security. Maybe it is freedom to travel all around the world, which would create certain emotions. Or let's take the example of trying to manifest a relationship. We want relationships because it brings us a sense of connection and warmth and feeling supported. So if you look back at any goal in your life that you have successfully manifested, you could probably tie it to one of the emotions from this rich, complex wheel of human emotions. And the reason this is so important is because if we don't know how the goal is gonna make us feel, what is the feeling that we're aiming at to stay in? So we want to understand what the goal means to us, what sort of emotions it's gonna create, why do we care about it, and once the goal is realized, how's it gonna feel? Now this can be incredibly hard for a lot of people because in modern times, we live in a mind-dominated world, so we're very much in our head and cut off from our feelings. What a lot of people do is they just keep moving from goal to goal to goal to goal to goal. You manifest $100,000, you want $1 million. Then you manifest $1 million, you want 2 millions. I have people in my life who have been caught up in this rat race for the entirety of their lives. And at a certain point, the goal lost its meaning and they just got depressed. So reflect on your goals and identify what is the feeling that it's gonna bring for you. Okay, so now that we have identified the feeling that we're looking for when it comes to our manifestation, it's time to get down to business. The first technique that I have for you guys is called going down the memory lane. This is a technique from Neville Goddard. So let's say the emotion or the feeling that you're expecting your goal to bring you is excitement. So what this technique requires is for us to remember a time when we did experience that emotion. Maybe it was at a sports game, maybe it was at a birthday party, maybe there was something that we're really looking forward to, some milestone. For the sake of this example, let's take excitement, and let's say the last time we experienced that level of excitement and exuberance was when we were at a game. So what we would do is we would sit with ourselves, close our eyes, and try to recreate that memory in our imagination in vivid detail. So let's say you're at this soccer game. You'd imagine yourself amongst the crowd, listening to the crowd cheering, watching the players playing, the color of the field, and paint as vivid of a picture as possible in your mind's eye. The more detailed, the better. Who did you go to that game with? Maybe it was a friend. Imagine that friend being right beside you. Try to remember a phase. Try to remember interactions from that game and replay all of that in your mind's eye. And as you do that, what happens is you slowly start feeling that emotion in your body. So we are now in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Now this method is incredibly potent because one of the biggest challenges when it comes to denying reality and trying to create the feeling through practices like visualization or affirmation is that the conscious mind is very resistant to it. So let's say you're affirming to yourself that you are healthy. and you are abundant, but at this moment your health is not in that great of a shape, or you just don't feel abundant. So the conscious mind will start inventing the conscious mind will start coming up with a bunch of reasons as to why you're deluding yourself, why none of this is gonna work, and that gets in the way of creating the wish fulfilled. We don't have to deal with that with going down the memory lane though, because this is something that has already happened. And since it has, the conscious mind has no way of denying that this has been our reality. And as we tap into that feeling more and more, the guard of the conscious mind goes down. And as that happens, feelings and messages can now reach the subconscious. So that is the first technique, guys. Going down the memory lane and living in the past to experience the emotion that we're looking to experience once our manifestation has turned into material reality. So on to the next one, guys. This one is living in the end, and this is perhaps the most talked about technique in the manifestation community, especially people who are into teachings of Neville Goddard and the law of assumption. What is it? While going down the memory lane requires you to recreate a scene from the past to create the feeling of the wish fulfilled, with living in the end, you imagine yourself in a scene where the outcome already has been achieved. The way you do that is pretty similar to going down the memory lane, and both of these techniques are essentially visualizations at the end of the day. But implementing this one could be a little more challenging depending on the kind of subconscious programming you have, or how resistant the conscious mind is when it comes to believing that the manifestation of the goal is indeed a possibility. I have made a whole video on reprogramming the subconscious mind on this channel, which is ultimately what convinces the conscious mind that the manifestation of the goal is indeed a possibility. So make sure to give that one a watch. Now that said, with living in the end, what you do is you imagine yourself in a scene that would indicate the goal already being manifested. And in the beginning, I would suggest that keep that scene as simple as possible. Let's say you are looking for a promotion. A very simple scene that would represent the fulfillment of the goal could be you sharing that news with your friends. Or maybe your boss letting you know that the company would be happy to see you in this role because of the great job that you have been doing at your work. Now again, like going down the memory lane, the idea is very simple. Sit with yourself, close your eyes, imagine yourself in that scene, and try to be as detailed as possible. Our goal here is to make the image so vivid that it creates that feeling in the body. I can't stress this enough, guys. When it comes to visualization, feeling is always the secret. Why? Because for one, it makes you feel that life is good. It takes away from the stress and anxiety around not being able to manifest the goal, which frees up a lot of energy to focus on the present moment and to focus on taking the steps towards the goal. And then once this alignment with the achievement of the goal happens, energetically speaking, you are just more driven to take action. Ideas come flowing naturally, and as Neville would say, your eyes move differently, your body moves differently, and it's just this acting from a place of effortless flow that in turn makes the manifestation effortless. So to sum it up, think of a scene that would represent the manifestation of your goal, go within yourself, and then try to recreate the scene to access the feeling. Well, the third technique that I have for you guys is called the lullaby method. The first two techniques are heavily concerned with visualization, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it can be fairly challenging depending on how much visualization work you have done before, and also has got something to do with our perception and how comfortable we are with different kinds of perceptions, like whether we are more auditory or more kinesthetic or more visual. Another challenge with visualization is oftentimes we have multiple goals. So now we would need different visualizations to imagine ourselves in the end or going down the memory lane, which could be quite intense in the beginning. It does get easier as you keep practicing, So lullaby method is one that simplifies all of that and could serve as a great step when you're just getting started in this journey of creating the feeling of wish fulfilled. With it, you're essentially trying to find a place of abundance and calm and happiness, just this general feeling of well-being and feeling good about life. And the reason you'd want to do that is because, again, it would make the conscious mind a little less resistant towards accepting this new version of yourself that would be able to attain the goal, which in turn would make visualization much more easier. So the method essentially involves you finding a phrase that when repeated with feeling and intention behind it just makes you feel good. What Neville proposes is to say one of these two things. The first one being, thank you, thank you, thank you. So you are thanking the universe profusely for all the goodies that it has sent your way, and as you do that, you see yourself feeling good. Also, saying thank you represents your wish already having been manifested, because when we say thank you, when we have gotten what we want, right? So that signals to the subconscious that it is already there. We already have our manifestation. It's this profound, simple technique that I have used to solve so many problems. If I am trying to do a visualization session before going to bed and my conscious mind is being very resistant, just saying thank you over and over again for the small things that has happened during the day, or just generally being thankful for my life, it makes the resistance go down. And you can instantly access this sense of well-being despite whatever circumstances you are in your life at this moment. Here's another big one from Neville. So you express your amazement about life with this simple sentence. Isn't it wonderful? Isn't it wonderful? And you keep saying that over and over again. Now, I want to highly stress this. These are not robotic affirmations. You have to create a sense of feeling and find intention behind this. So saying it like, isn't it wonderful? Is very different from saying, isn't it wonderful? Isn't it wonderful? Isn't it wonderful? You know what I'm saying, right? So you do want to find the intention and the feeling behind it, and then you want to use these mantras to create this sense of calm and abundance and joy and gratitude in your body. What makes this technique so awesome is it's very simple. You can do it at any time. You don't have to do it out loud. You can just do it in your head, produce the same level of effects. And it's much more accessible than something like visualization, which does require you isolating yourself from day-to-day life and sitting in a quiet place depending on how far you are into your practice. So those are the 3 techniques that I wanted to share with you guys in this video. They have worked wonders for me, and as I kept practicing more and more, it has gotten easier. I'd say start with the lullaby method, and then as you start experiencing a sense of calm and abundance and try to create that on command, move on to visualization. So that's it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, keep overcoming yourself one day at a time.